Okay, folks, today we're going to deal with Sailing Prepper Dark Secret Story Time. And I'm going to use two YouTubers that have given me permission to use their personas in this. And I'm going to use them to make this futuristic story of what would happen if the shit hit the fan and the blue helmets came. We'll be starting with John from Prepper Nation, and I'm introducing to you him now. Here he is, John Sergeant Prepper Nation in the left corner. And in the next corner, we have Little Dangerous Freedom, one of my favorite YouTubers, folks. And then, of course, folks, your host, Sailing Prepper Dark Secrets. Hope you enjoy, folks. Okay, our story begins with two very evil politicians, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, whose goal is to basically cover up election fraud and election meddling on the Democrat side and silence the people through censorship and to take away our freedoms and to destroy the country as is. These two evil politicians here. And of course, Joe Biden has decided to laugh at our Second Amendment right and our right to defend ourselves, and has explained how he could basically use jets and everything else and nuclear weapons to literally eliminate the American people. Don't take my word for it, listen to him yourself.
The country opening back up again, the traditional summer spike may even be more pronounced than it usually would be. For folks at home, here's what you need to know. I've been at this a long time, and there are things we know that work that reduce gun violence and violent crime, and things that we don't know about. But things we know about, background checks for purchasing a firearm are important. Ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. No one needs to have a weapon that can fire over 30, 40, 50, even up to 100 rounds. Unless you think the deer are wearing Kevlar vests or something. Community policing and programs that keep neighborhoods safe and keep folks out of trouble. These efforts work, they save lives. But over time, these policies were gutted and are woefully underfunded. In our conversation today, we talked about our strategy to supercharge what works while we continue to push the Congress to act on sensible gun violence legislation.
How about actual sensible?
First, we discussed cracking down, as you heard from the Attorney General, on rogue gun dealers. We know that if there is a strict enforcement of background checks, then fewer guns get into the hands of criminals. Background checks had thus far kept more than 3 million guns out of the hands of felons, convicted felons, fugitive, domestic abusers, and others prohibited from being able to purchase a gun. And there's still too many loopholes in that system. And today, enough rogue gun dealers feel like they can get away with selling guns to people who aren't legally allowed to own them. And I might add, the Second Amendment from the day it was passed limited the type of people who could own a gun and what type of weapon you could own. You couldn't buy a cannon. Those who say the blood of patriots, you know.
You can buy a cannon today.
We're going to have to move against the government. While the tree of liberty is not water with the blood of patriots, what's happened is that there never been, if you wanted to think you need to have weapons to take on the government, you need F-15s and maybe some nuclear weapons. The point is that there's always been the ability to rationally limit the type of weapon that can be owned and who can own it. The last time we had data on this issue of who was purchasing guns was more than 20 years ago. 5% of gun dealers, turns out, in the study we did, showed that 90% of illegal guns were found at the crime scenes sold by 5% of gun dealers. 5% sold 90% of the guns found at crime scenes. And these merchants of death are breaking the law for profit. They're selling guns that are killing innocent people. it's wrong, it's acceptable. As the Attorney General said, we're going to crack down on those gun dealers.
If that's the case, then crack down on the people that are actually selling guns illegally overseas that water back into our country.
Report on gun trafficking, so we can
like
update that data.
Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and Raytheon, which sell it to our enemies and kill our troops.
Crack down on stem the flow of guns used to commit violent crimes. It's zero tolerance for gun dealers who willfully violate key existing laws and regulations. And I repeat, zero tolerance. If you willfully sell a gun to someone who's prohibited from possessing it.
So see, folks, he's even willing to take on us non-stop, and he doesn't care about our Second Amendment rights because he's got all those nuclear weapons. So this is what the idea is being. He's threatening the American people. So since this is tyranny, well, let's say what would happen if 1776 came around again, and we fought against a tyrannical government like we have today. Okay, folks, now we'll go to the front. And we'll start with John from Prepper Nation, Sergeant Nation. Most likely, at this particular point in this story, Joe Biden has decided to declare war on anyone who supported Donald Trump. And I see John at Prepper Nation starting somewhere around here. Yes, folks, I see him starting there. Fix this real quick. Anyways, folks, on your little map here of the front, and I'm going to switch lines. There we go. Back to pencil. Sorry about that. It's like I said, we'll see John somewhere around here, most likely. And he's going to send his troops, most likely, heading towards California. All those good old boys going there to face off. And he'll probably send communications down to here to Florida. And they'll have people coming up, going through there, through the Pennsylvania, all the way to the New York. And I'm sure there's going to be little pockets here and here throughout the West of good old boys. Alright? Now we're going to switch colors for the blue coats that the prick we have in charge right now, Commander-in-Chief as it says, is going to have these blue coats come in. Alright, the United Nations. And the United Nations are going to be all through here. And they'll probably even send troops going in through here. Along the water lines in Massachusetts and that. Oops. And yeah, they might even cut through there. Act of God, I guess, showing me something I wasn't expecting. And they'll have naval ships going all through here. And they'll probably go around the Florida line and into the Gulf. And you'll have blue coats on the edge here. And mostly right here. Now, they're going to do mostly aerial strikes and bombings. And they'll be sending their bombers here. And they'll be sending bombers down here. And here. And basically try and hit all us from doing all this. And they'll even send their bombers down here, taking out basically anybody they can. And they might even send some bombers and missiles going here. And the idea of this is basically to soften us up. Alright? They want us to be soft. They want us to not be able to do anything to protect ourselves. And that's what your blue coats are probably going to do here on this front. And they're going to do that most likely before they do any actual invasion or anything like that. Now John, he's going to try to, Sergeant John Nation, he's going to try to actually like hit our road signs and stop supply lines. But he's not really an ocean-going person, so since they have most of the coast, they got quite a bit of an advantage over there doing that. However, like I said, that's most likely what's going to happen. Now, we're going to have a little dangerous issue here, because Dangerous Freedom, he's going to have himself some suggestions, and I'm going to use a different color for dangerous. As soon as I can get this pen out, sorry folks. There we go. Now, I forgot exactly where he is, but I believe he's somewhere in here. And that's where Mr. Freedom is. Alright, so he's somewhere in the Midwest as well, if I remember correctly. And Mr. Freedom himself, little Dangerous Freedom, he's gonna, let's say he's here, he's gonna have to make his decision if he's gonna go this way and try to get to the west coast, because things are getting hot up here and he needs to get to that ocean like he plans. If it hits the fan, which is what the scenario is. Then he's going to come down here, is my guess, is where he really will, because it'll really be the safest route at that point to get to the ocean, because over here is surrounded by blue coats and over here is surrounded by blue coats. That's going to be a problem for him. But I see him going this route here, right down here, and probably into Austin, Texas and that. So as this story goes, that's most likely his decision. I see him making in the future, and in this story, that's what he's doing. So Mr. Little Dangerous Freedom grabs his kids, and I'll say he's going to head down towards Texas, Louisiana, and Florida. Then we're going to go for me, and I don't care what color I use. We'll use green for me, or yellow, fine. Yellow works. And of course I'm up here, so I gotta make it all the way through here, and I'm gonna be taking my boat and sailing at this point, and I'm gonna try to squeeze all through here through the coast. I'm gonna try to get down here to the Florida region, and this map's too short, so I'll just slide over cross through, even though my boat won't. And I want to be in this region and in the Texas region. Now, why do I want this? Well, I could meet up with Dangerous here, and we all buddies. So I figure we gonna go here. And that's where me and Dangerous Freedom meet. Well, everything's hitting the fan. So that gives you a little update on the front, boys. We're going here. Dangerous will be coming through here. And John's going to be setting up a defensive, trying to get everybody in line and doing stuff like that. Now, John doesn't have no ham radio, but at this point he's going to be grateful that he has one. He's going to be able to get a hold of me and other people using it, and he'll use code. It'll be like, and we'll say that's the code, alright? Because I don't know what it would be at this point. And he's going to send me a coded message. I'm going to say. He's going to send people coded messages, but me. I'll use me because this is my story. Now, Mr. Nation here, he got a problem. See, over in this area, he's having problems with these guys. And he's got some troops stationed up here. Well, I'll tell him you can make two decisions at this particular point. And this is going to be a harsh one. You can kill a lot of Americans by taking out that dam up there. They call it the Hoover Dam. Well, if you take out that Hoover Dam up there, and the dams below it, it's going to flood the whole area, take out a whole lot of people, but it's also going to take a whole lot of power and flood areas and actually put them to their stop. So you know to do that. And this is your area, so you do that. And if you don't do that, you might still have the support of some of the people, but you got to realize at this particular point, we have Israel coming in, helping out Joe Biden. Like it or not, guys, that's most likely what's going to happen because they're going to take the winner's side. You got Britain who's going to do that because the Queen likes sucking any American president's dick because that's what she does. And the French, too, they bend over and take a promise, so they'll come in and help out the commander-in-chief at that point of whoever he is, regardless of his situation. China and Russia will probably stand out and just sit there and laugh. The same with Iran or anybody else. They're probably not going to do anything because they don't need to do anything. Because your problems are really what's in the United States, Britain and France. Okay? Maybe a little Spain and the UN. The UN is based of multiple people. So you're going to have all these troops and the people that have been brainwashed into believing this president's side or whatever you want to call them, this Joe Biden and the Democrats, no matter what, vote blue no matter who, that kind of stupid shit. Well, they're all going to be against you. So we're fighting a losing battle here, even if we outnumber them. But we won't outnumber all of them because you're also going to have people like Blackwater. They'll bring in their people. Those are guns for hire. Those are mercenaries, and there are mercenaries all over the world now. You're going to have our own troops that do side, which will split up our own military, which is going to cause problems. And you're going to have the problem of France, Britain, and Israel taking the side of the person who they believe is president right now in this. They would bring in troops. Yes, folks, you heard it from me, and that's my belief in this storyline. That's why I'm putting it there. So you're going to have all these multiple things. And after listening to Biden, I wouldn't put it past him to launch something like a nuke here in Wyoming and Texas on his own soil at his own people. Because that's exactly the way he sounded in that video. But either way, at this particular point, you're going to have all these issues. And as this 1776 battle's going on, well, the blue helmets have come in, and Joe Biden has decided to activate the FEMA camps that are already here and build some new ones. And of course, all the brain dead people that are going to deal with all this, they're going to just decide to voluntarily go to the FEMA camps. Because that's what brain dead Americans that don't know to think for themselves or prep seem to like to do. And you're going to have Americans that join that, too, the UN. See, here they are, happy as they go, going to the FEMA camp with their nice little new shots. There they are. And they're going to send us there, too. And for the people that end up in these camps, you're going to be able to take a shower maybe once a month. You're going to get very little water, unless you get your vaccination. And you're going to have next to no food and lots of bombing. Until eventually there's nothing but children there. And this little turtle, my friend, is going to flip off Joe Biden in the process. And for people living in there, it'll be like a storm. And you'll be lucky to get anything to drink. Or food. And most of the adults will be killed off till there's next to nothing left but the children. That's what will happen in these FEMA camps. And look, folks, I and Little Dangerous, we met up. We're sailing together. He's found himself a bunch of women that love sailboats. He's happy as can be. Except for they all seem to have one problem about him only being like 3 feet tall. And we having a lot of fun. He even found a little speedboat he likes. He called it the General Lee. Man, is he having fun. And we've decided to give the bad people down there some problems and the locals some hell. I mean, heck. Look at us go. Yee! Yeehaw! Me and Dangerous jumping around on that General Lee boat of his. Woo! We're giving him hell. And of course, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and Raytheon, they just loving this. Because, that's why we had, or have had, and still do, a 20-year-old war in the Middle East. I mean, hell, we gotta pay our military complex boys so they can make more weapons and sell it to our enemies. As you can well see, Raytheon right there with their new missiles. The military-industrial complex. Not for us, for rich people to make money off our backs. That's what that's really for, and that's who will benefit out of this over anybody else, or those jerks. And of course the UN will try to win some people over. But that's how it goes, folks. And of course, folks, the name of your new FEMA camp, New Gaza. Well, that pretty much ends the story, folks, because who knows how this will really end. But enjoy your home in New Gaza, which will probably be in the middle of the U.S.